Outside of using this, public communities. Yeah, say, okay, yes.
Sabaya tayo patapadana.
You have the link. No, we don't have the link. So they did not send it to you. You can't have the link. We don't have the link. Send it to a personal, so it's not for everybody. It's for people that are attending this.
You can, I think you can invite.
What I did?
You can invite people to join.
No one thing, you're not doing on the Gmail that they insulting log the person, so you cannot be interested.
I can. Should have sent it to the panelists.
No, they send it to the panelists.
Okay. You can. You sent the material to them. Adeyemi to say. Should we check the
And they come on to be somebody this thing.
I've started.
Good afternoon, once more. You are welcome to the second session of our panel today. This is the part 4 of which we have so far we had a whole session and last Thank you for being with us previous one and for being here. For this session, Dr. Listen to the chairing, and she's on. Dr. Ruth, please go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for coming to our session, the last session for this year's LSA conference. We are grateful you are here with us. Like what happened in the previous session, I'll just moderate the questions and answers section will be taken by Dr. Bumi, who is on ground. Thanks, Dr. Bumi, for all you've done.
Yeah.
I don't know who the presenters for these sessions are. Okay, I'm seeing Idowu Diaolu. I'm seeing Idowu Diaolu here.
Yes.
And who else?
We are there.
Okay. And Dr. Bumi and the partner are also there. Do we have any person on ground again?
Yes, okay. There's somebody, there's Mary. Mary is presenting. She's the 50%.
Okay.
Yes, and she's physical.
Are they online? Or on...
Mary is here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Then, okay, Esther will present online.
But she has not come online.
Yeah, I'm trying to back her up.
Okay. We might not follow the arrangements because some persons are not on ground now. So I'll just call on Dr. Idowu to start this session. Dr. Idowu, please. The floor is open for you.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Sorry.
Hello.
Can you just give me? Yeah. Can you just give me a minute? Let somebody start the presentation. After that person, I will present. I just want to put something together.
Okay.
Sorry.
Dr. Bumi, please, can you start?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
This is a joint work with David and Sadiq about today. And we're doing something on Friend for Resilient Forces, Women and Social Change, Mary Salamis and Grace, Sweet Revenge, and Idia, the Warrior Queen of the Faith.
Okay.
Mr. Sadiq, we do the presentation. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It is a great pleasure to be here. All right, so I was speaking on the topic, strength for resident voices, women and student change in Irene Salam and Noye's sweet review the world of the name. We pick this place because we see them as places that actually speak about women's subjugation, places that are what's called revolutionary in the sense that they challenge the status quo. We all know that gender roles in African societies have historically been shaped by patriarchal traditions, colonial legacies, and religious structure. And literature acts as a tool for which we can use to fight what's called marginalization or what's it called the silence of women voices in Africa. And Salami Agunoye has written a lot of work that actually challenge the status quo. a lot of work that place women where they should be, rather than where society asks them to be. So our research aim is to explore how Salami Agbo's Sweet Revenge and India, the warrior queen of Benin, depict the redefinition of gender roles and the quest for social transformation through female agency. And we raise the following research questions that we're going to be answering through our critical analysis of the two plays. The first one is how will the plays react to traditional gender portrayals of women in African societies. And the second one is what are the dramatic techniques that are used in both plays to reflect women's challenges and triumphs. Then lastly, we want to find out how the plays contribute to female discourse and gender equity in African literature. And to do this, we use two theories, African feminism, feminist theory, and social role theory. However, our major concern is on African feminist theory. And the reason we actually chose this particular theory is that while we have Western feminist theory that is even more radical and more extreme, now we now have what's known as African feminist theory. This is a kind of theory that actually supports women empowerment, a kind of theory that focuses on African women's unique cultural and historical concepts, challenging colonial legacies and patriarchal oppression. And when we look at African feminist theory, it's not saying that there should not be change in society, that women should not be heard in society. But whatever it is that we are going to do when it comes to supporting women, we should do it in a constructive manner, not a destructive manner. So whatever fights we're actually going to put up against that male-dominated society should be something that will be done with wisdom. It's not something that we actually, no, it's competition, we have to fight, we have to do this thing at all. That there is a way we can actually project women in such a way that men cannot easily repress their ambitions, and so on and so forth. Then we also use social role theory to support this particular theory. For social role theory, saying that when it comes to roles that both men and women are performing, they are more of sociological than biological. So if you are a man, if you have been, giving, we have men who are actually stylists that make hair and all that, but then society has, giving some roles to some women that when we see some women going after some job opportunities, we say, no, this one is not for you. This one should be for the man, not for the woman. It's the society that has made it like that. So it's not something biological. So it is more of sociological role. So the methodology we use in this to analyze, we use in this two places for analysis is a qualitative literary analysis. So we did a qualitative study of both texts, focusing on characterization, dialogue, symbolism, and semantic structure of both texts. The first text here is Sweet Revenge. It's actually a very modern story about a man who travels out, leaves his wife and children at home. The wife was a medical doctor before he travels out. He tells you, I stop working, focus on the children. When I go there for my PhD and I come back, come and live happily. But when the man gets there, finds a white woman, gets married to a white woman, then later he calls him back to come and become the senator in the state. He comes home, looks at his wife, says, you are no longer looking attractive to me. You look somehow. Somebody that promises to always send him 40,000 naira home. Then when he gets there, he's sending 10,000 naira. And then he still expects the woman to do everything at home, taking care of 3 children, his own sister and his own mother as well. So when the man comes back, say, you don't fit into this senatorial position that I'm going to. So and then I just want you to move out of my house. You don't look attractive anymore and all. So the woman moves out, but then with the support of other women and all, thank God that she already had a degree and she was working before the man traveled out. So she went back to her profession, and then from there, she makes it. Then again, the women support her to that become the senator after moving the position for the removal of the man. But then why this particular play is titled Sweet Revenge is that, unlike the normal one whereby a woman will carry gun to go and revenge or to go and kill the man for whatever he has done to him. No, the sweet revenge here is that the woman just go back, does the certificate, go back to work, and then get support from other women to become a senator herself. Sweet revenge. But then when we look at that Western feminist theory, it's going to be an hype and that kind of thing. So let us fight, let us destroy everything. But African feminism is not all about that. Even when we are moving for change, for revolution, we don't have to do it in a violent way. So there's a way we can address issues without bringing others upon the discussion. However, looking at India, the warrior queen of Benin, the play is actually about a queen mother, Yoruba. So it's just a play about traditions and cultures and how we can ensure that we still preserve culture and then still give women voice to speak. So African feminism is like we look at our traditions, our culture. We are not yet to make a radical change of the culture and traditions. If at all we even want a place for a woman in the society, there's a way we can accommodate the culture that is in existence, the traditions, without losing that. But then we are only changing cultures or traditions that are strangulating, that will not give women their position, that will not relegate women. That's the only thing we are challenging, not to destroy the culture and tradition. So India as a queen, he said that they should kill the queen because if the son is going to ascend the throne, then the woman should die. That's the culture. Because they don't want the mother to be alive. They think that the mother is alive, she's going to be teaching the son, all atrocities and that. So once they want to make a king, the Yoruba must be killed. That's the tradition in Benin. So, but then India, as a warrior, even before the son becomes the king, she says, no, I'm not going to take this. I'm not going to die because my son is going to be the king. It's not going to be possible. So she puts up a fight. And the women and some men also will support her. So when I'm talking about feminism, it's not just a movement, by what's it called, women. Even there are some men that are also supporting feminist ideology. So she stands as man. I'm not going to die because my son, okay, all the ships go and kill your mothers before you become the ship. So it's not possible. So why should I die? Because my son wants to become the king. And as a result of that, they created what is now known as what's it called? Yoruba position. Because they think that this thing that they gave to us is that if at all you must leave, you are going to build a house somewhere far from the palace. You don't need to come and see the king, but then you can be there and make your decisions. That's the only way you can allow you to stay alive. But then it's happened. As a result of that, they changed that existing tradition of killing the Yoruba because they are supposed to ascend the throne. So she's there. And while still being there, she is actually the one who leads the war against the enemy group. And she won the war, a woman leading the war. All the men are saying, we cannot fight this way. We don't have everything. Sometimes, even when fighting war, don't need charms, don't need all this ammunition. It's about using your sense. And during the war, when everybody, they were fighting and all that. So what she did was that to create something that looked like a soldier standing in the middle of the war like this. So when the opponents were shooting the guns and everything, and that was supposed to remain standing, everybody was like, this kind of shank, I've never seen it before. So they ran away. Not knowing that just normal status, nothing there at all. So it was like war of wisdom. So all these things show the role and the importance of women in the society. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to look at it, is that there is a way we can actually project women in a good light, without justified, without going the other way around. So there are different things that are discussed with the play. Female empowerment. So these days we need to empower female more, not just economic empowerment, even in terms of politics. In Nigeria today, we have more men in politics than women. But then we can also allow females to take key positions in politics. In Sweet Revenge, I saw the woman who actually, the senator of my husband now, she later becomes the senator, and all other women support her. Then there's also solidarity and resistance. Today, women are supporting women now. They are giving, support. They are backing women these days. So when we look at this two plays, we can see what Salami Abiloye has done with the two plays as an African feminist. So our contribution to knowledge is said that this particular study broadens the discourse on African feminism drama highlight the role of female playwrights in reshaping gender narratives, and also demonstrate how drama can affect social change and historical justice. Some of our recommendations is that we should promote greater inclusion of female playwrights in academic curricula. So we visit some theater departments or English departments, we study more of male text. Feminist officer, Wole Soyinka. I think some of us have forgotten that we have female playwrights in Nigeria, besides what's it called? The popular Henry Fola. So we have a lot of playwrights in Nigeria. In fact, I wonder that Salami Abuloyi has been, for a very long time, and then we don't get to study some of their plays like that. So there should be inclusion of female playwrights in academic curricula, and then we should encourage check adaptations of feminist African literature and support grassroots storytelling and performative advocacy among African women. In conclusion, so women should stop saying that we don't have opportunities. The opportunities are here already. Then how are you taking advantage of the opportunities? When you go to most higher institutions, we see females in most departments. So what are you doing? How are you taking advantage of the opportunities that are available to you? It's not about fighting for equity anymore. Now we have done that already. So what are the things that you're supposed to do as a woman to take charge as well? You can participate in politics. Nobody's stopping you. We see Honorable Natasha, Senator Natasha. We see so many women now taking, big positions like that. Although they are going to be challenged. Honorable Senator. Sorry. Okay. So women cannot take opportunity. So today's African women stand at the threshold of opportunity in politics, literature, business, and community leaders. Most of the banks that we have in Nigeria now, we have women as their what's it called? First bank, First Bank, Access Bank, and so on. So you can take all these opportunities. So the fight for equity has largely been achieved. What remains is for women to take initiative, leverage existing platforms, and shape society with purpose. Unlike Western, now this is just what we're trying to say. Unlike Western feminism, African feminism is looking at how can support women without succumbing to violence. How we can set this and make them clear that our own realities here in Africa is different from their own realities over there. We have our cultures and traditions and are different from theirs. So when we're talking about integrating women into culture, into our traditions, we should do it in such a way that we are not pushing away the traditions and cultures. We are only embracing traditions, that support women, that promote women. And lastly, just like Sheriff has said in W, today, in double yoke is like having two yokes in an egg. And it is something that is not common anyway. So double yoke, one stands for tradition, one stands for modernism. So we should want to enjoy this, we should learn how to merge the old with the new. It's not that we are pushing the old. If we are too primitive, there's going to be problem. If we are too westernized, there's going to be problem. So it's not double yoke. We make tradition into modernity and yes.
Thank you. Thank you. That was okay. You stuck to the time. Thank you very much. Now we are going to listen to Dr. Deolu. The title of his work is Weaving Stories: The Role of Women in Textile Art and Performance in Africa. Dr. Deolu, please. Can you come on? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. I want to share my slide.
Okay.
Just a minute. Please, you help me to disable. You have disabled my screen sharing, please. Could you help me to enable it? Hello.
Can
It is done, ma. You can share now.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, can you see my slide?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good day, everyone. My name is Idoudi Alu from Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, Nigeria. I'm making a presentation on weaving stories, the role of women in textile art and performance as cultural expression. Textile arts, which is one of the major area I'm looking at in the activity of women, it's not just a craft, but a medium for storytelling, for social commentary, political resistance, and we see women at the forefront of this creative expression. Historically, African women have used textile techniques such as weaving, dyeing, embroidery, among others, to challenge gender oppressions and societal norms. So these textiles often they are seen as just not only wearable arts, but they carry deep cultural meaning and serve as powerful form of verbal and non-verbal communication. Women artists, they have evolved through colonial and post-colonial contexts, and they continue to shape and define contemporary African art. Actually, the work here is an ongoing study trying to catalog the different roles that women artists, especially in textiles, have been involved in. So the textile tradition, it acts as both artistic expression and social performance that disrupt gender hierarchies and then promoting social change. So the first person I want to look at is Nike Davis Okundaye. This is a woman who has been working very wonderfully in the aspect of textile arts. She has an office at Osogbo. She also has connection within and outside Nigeria, and she has been involved in different art exhibition, especially outside the country. So she was born in Ogidi, Nigeria, and she learned textile tradition art from her grandmother. So we can see the trend, of cultural passing heritage, cultural heritage, within the family setting. And then she will also engage herself as a self-taught artist. She has contributed significantly in the area of textile art and performance, with key figure in popularizing Adire textiles globally through exhibition and art centers. She has different art centers, and we have a number of students in her institutions going to a place for industrial attachment. And she has trained thousands of artists focusing on empowering women through skills in textile arts. And she has also had a lot of exhibition. The next person I'm looking at is the Olori Aderonke of Fashion Africa. This is the wife of the current Oni of Ife. She's a fashion blogger. She's a fashion enthusiast, and she has a fashion house in Ile-Ife here. That's the they call it Ojaja. It's a resort center with a lot of training centers within the place. She has her role, in fashion. She's an innovator, blending traditional African textiles with modern fashion. And also, she has been integrating African motif into contemporary designs, building a global appreciation of African arts. She's also promoted African textiles as symbols of heritage and identity. One of the key areas she's involved in is what we call the Fashion Africa, which has been exhibited severally at the United Kingdom. She always have a runway, a fashion exhibition, displaying cultural art, specifically at the remote, majorly at the exhibition, showing our tradition, and then which is being appreciated by the Western world. This is one of the training centers where she trained women and a number of people in textile arts, and this is one of our products too. There is a very small, I don't know if I can give me 1 second to show something. I don't know if I can, I don't know if you can, all right, probably it will take my time. It's a short video. Can you see my screen? Is anything showing on my screen? Okay, I'm talking of a video. Yeah, this is, okay. So this is our center. Oh.
Has stakes. Only wise, purely plastic, waste, wow,
Okay,
plastics.
Okay, maybe because of time, let me go back to, so there is a link to the video here. Anyway, so the next person I'm talking about is Mrs. Fumi Braid, and she has a textile center in Abeokuta. It's called Ojubo Adire. Actually, she's both a practicing textile artist and an academician. She lectures at the Federal University of Agriculture in Abeokuta, and she's also having a center where she promotes art within and outside Nigeria. Her central role has been in sustaining the practice of adire making and then the preservation of tradition, which has been instrumental in keeping the ancient art of adire alive and adaptive, and then providing substantial income and skills training to women artisans. We also have Winka Shomimbare, who has been working in Dutch wax print fabric, a post-colonial textile with roots in colonial trade between Europe, Indonesia, West Africa, among others. She has been contributing like the installation like the Crown in 2006, using wax print fabrics to explore race, class, globalization, subverting colonial narratives, among others. We have some other people outside Nigeria, for example, Andre Bluin, who happened to be from Central Africa Republic, and although she lacked formal artistic training due to colonial restrictions on African education, but her knowledge of textile came from community practices and activities which include leveraging cultural symbols. She has contributed through, though not a professional artist like I mentioned, she has made an advocacy for African identity through clothing and textile during the post-colonial struggles in the 1950s and the 1960s. So we have a number of others too that are within the global context and making international contributions, especially those who are outside Nigeria, United States, Germany, Ghana, among others. And then there has been a lot of impact, especially with the digital age, where the textile art has gone in a new dimension, where we have a lot of social media apps, where textile is being promoted. And then there is a technological reach, where the digital platforms is amplifying textiles. Then the advocacy and empowerment, using textile as tool for empowerment and then advocacy. And, there is a place in Itoku in Abeokuta where we have a lot of women, I can't even mention them in this study. They are really into different arts designs in the textiles. They are into adire leko, adire labere, adire oniko, different types of textiles. So in summary, you can see that women have been playing a significant role in promoting textile arts within and outside Nigeria, and there is need for stronger collaboration with the women in this aspect. And then the role of women in cultural transformation has been mentioned, and the future direction and implication of this study is to get more women, especially we have some women who are less privileged. We have widows, we have those who are with disabilities. They can also be incorporated into this training, and then we can have less, they can have less reliance and dependency on people. They can be able to make their living out of the textile art. So thank you very much for listening, and I anticipate any further contribution or questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your paper. Thank you for the presentation. You wait because we want everybody to present before the question and answer session comes. The third
Okay, thank you.
the third person to present is Esther Okezie. She had the title of her paper is She Matters, Revolutionizing African Films by Female Producers. Please, is Esther online?
Yes, I'm online.
Oh,
Good
thank
afternoon,
you.
ma'am.
Good afternoon. Please, you have the floor now. Thank you.
Okay. My name is Estelle Kezie from University of Calabar. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
And I'll be presenting.
Not from your mic.
Please, can you hear me? I don't have any. I cannot share my screen because of where I am.
Okay. Just go on. Go on.
Yes. Yes, the title of my paper says She Matters, Revolutionizing African Film by Female Producers. The truth about it is that film remains a very powerful medium of reaching out to people, as well as changing the status quo of any given society through embedded messages. Most African movies in the closing decade of the last century and in the opening decade of the new century portrayed the patriarchal cultural norms, which were against women. But currently, women film producers have risen to counter such narratives by producing films that deal on gender equality, women's rights, and privileges. This is gradually changing the narrative of the African sphere. However, this paper is seeking to study the extent to which this change has affected society. Just a brief overview of the pulp film. And I quote Benson Lizzie, 2020. You know, she made a statement that says, "What you see affects you. What you hear affects you. But what you see and hear affects you much more." In other words, when you watch, sorry, can you hear me?
Let's go.
Okay, so what you hear and what you see affects you more. So when you watch a movie, you're not just seeing the images, you're also hearing, listening to what is going on, in the movie and then getting the message. So the way films were actually portrayed before now, where women were not really into filmmaking, you discovered that there was so much about the patriarchy and all that, and then eulogizing the male factor. Meanwhile, the women were actually subjugated, and any woman in some of those movies, any woman who tries to rise up against the status quo was actually seen as insubordinate. But today, film directors, especially film producers, especially the females, have actually come to change the narrative of the film. Now, for this particular work I'm doing, we're going to be using some feminist theories, but the one I'm really hinging on is humanist feminism, which talks about equity and equality. What is good for the goose should be good for the gander. In other words, whatever is good for the male is also good for the female. And so, the society should work that way. And so we have a lot of people have actually written on this. And then we have a lot of movies too that have actually portrayed this to people. But one of the movies I'm really interested in is Oboli's Wives on Strike, Part 2. Boboli's, hello, are we together?
Yes.
Okay. Boboli's wife on Strike, Part 2. She actually did a very wonderful film, wonderful movie there. And then before I go into that, I'd just like to say something again too, that um, the film industry, especially the one in Nigeria, has long been a powerful tool for shaping societal narratives and challenging, the society as it were. In Africa, however, the industry has historically been dominated by patriarchal norms, I said it before, and stereotypes that perpetuate gender inequality. In recent years, a new wave of female producers have actually emerged seeking to challenge these narratives. This paper actually seeks to also explore the impact of these female-led film narratives, where, these female film narratives we are going to be using qualitative research methods, and of course, content analysis. That's what we'll be using for this work. Now, if you look at Wives on Strike, Part 2 by Omoni Oboli, she explores the theme of gender disparity, of course, through the lens of a group of women who unite to challenge the systemic exclusion of girls from education. The film highlights the intersection of gender, culture, and religion as the women confront patriarchal norms that prioritize boys' education over girls. The exclusion of girls from schools' extracurricular activities serves as a metaphor for broader societal inequalities, reflecting the ways in which women are denied access to opportunities essential for their personal and professional development. The female characters in Wives on Strike, Part 2, symbolize individuals grappling with gender stereotypes and social marginalization. Through their collective action, the women challenge the status quo, advocating for a more inclusive society that values the contributions of all its members. The film, Wives on Strike Part 2, underscores the transformative potential of collective resistance, offering a powerful critique of patriarchal exclusionism and its impact on women's lives. This particular filmmaker masterfully delves into the theme of gender disparity. She delves into the theme of patriarchy, using the narrative of a group of women who band together to challenge the systematic exclusion of girls from education. The film is set against a backdrop of a deeply patriarchal society where cultural and religious norms are weaponized to justify the prioritization of boys' education over girls. This exclusion is not merely limited to the classroom, but extends to extracurricular activities, symbolizing the broader societal inequalities that women face. The denial of these opportunities to girls serves as a poignant metaphor of the ways in which women are systematically barred from accessing resources and platforms that are critical for their personal growth, professional development, and overall empowerment. The characters here are emblematic of individuals who are forced to navigate and resist the oppressive structures of gender stereotypes and social marginalization. Each character brings a unique perspective to the narrative, reflecting the diverse ways in which women experience and respond to patriarchal oppression. Through their collective actions, the women in the film challenge the entrenched status quo, demonstrating the power of unity and solidarity in the face of systematic injustice. Their struggle is not just for access to education, but for for a more inclusive society that recognizes and values the contributions of all its members, regardless of its gender. This film explores gender disparity, which further enriched it by the critique of the intersectionality of oppression. Oboli highlights how gender inequality is compounded by cultural and religious ideologies that perpetuate the subjugation of women. The women's resistance is portrayed as both a personal and political act as they confront not only the barriers of their daughters' education, but also the broader societal norms that devalue women's roles and contributions. By framing their struggle within this context of education, the film underscores the transformative potential of knowledge and empowerment, offering a powerful critique of patriarchal exclusionism and its far-reaching impact on women's lives. This movie, as I said, it actually speaks for and is dedicated to the girl child in Nigeria. If you observe some of those movies before now that were actually patriarchal in nature, didn't have anything to offer the girl child in Nigeria. Many of them, they actually stood against the girl child, But this particular movie stands to speak for the girl child in Nigeria and, of course, Africa and the world at large. A group of illiterate women, like Jemima and all that, some of the characters there, stood for a particular girl child who was an underage girl that the father wanted to get married to one so-called rich man so that he could use part of the money gotten from the bride price to train his son in school. But these women stood up. They were illiterate, no doubt, but they knew what was right. And so they stood up to fight against this, and then stood against that status quo and said, this must not happen. At the end of it, the little girl was actually allowed not to marry the man, and she was actually sent to school. At the same time, there was also a woman too who was not allowed to walk, who was not allowed to do anything, in the film. That's Mama Amina, and she was actually educated. She had an NC certificate, and she also had a skill, which was sewing. But the husband decided that his wife must be a stay-at-home wife and should do nothing, at home.
Please, yes, round up. Thank you.
Okay. In conclusion, female film producers in Africa are revolutionizing the industry by creating films that promote gender equality, challenge patriarchal norms, and amplify women's voices. Through their work, they are contributing to a shift in societal attitudes and norms, empowering women and girls, and inspiring a new generation of filmmakers. As the African film industry continues to evolve, it is essential to support and celebrate the work of female producers, directors, and writers who are driving this change and shaping the narrative of African cinema. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Please, you wait for the question and answer session. Let's to our final presenter for the 2025 LSA conference. Her name is Mary Idiongsi. The title of our work is Intergenerational Narratives, Digital Transformation and the Cultural Preservation in Nigerian Women Performance.
Okay. Dr. I don't know.
Yes.
I know you said it's the last thing, but as one of us that could be present in the first session, I don't know if she allowed. It's not like
okay. There's no problem.
So, Glory.
Okay, there's no problem. Mary, please, can you take the floor now? Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mary Solo, and I'm from Lagos State University. And I'll be talking on intergenerational narrative, digital transformation, and cultural preservation in Lagos, Nigerian women's performance in art and music. This is an ongoing study. So I will also need your constructive suggestion. We will have to make it better. In my research project, there is significant research has been done on Nigerian modern relationship between music and cultural identity. The crucial understanding how women performance navigate the seamless mental intersection of traditional preservation and digital innovation. There is existing literature as evidenced by Arco 2019 and Inamanu 2019 and others that has extensively documented how music mirror culture, cultural identities, transmit tradition, shape communal bonds, and promote moral value within Nigerian society. However, this study has largely overlooked the unique position of women performers as cultural custodians and innovators. The aim and objective, my primary aim to this study is to examine Nigerian women's performance-based cultural preservation strategies and the impact of digital platforms on traditional elements in younger women's performance. To achieve this aim, I have three objectives to this study: to document historical strategies of women's cultural preservation through performance in music. Two, to analyze the impact of digital platforms on traditional Nigerian performance elements actually in music. Three, to develop a framework for integrating traditional performance elements into digital performance. This study is being hinged, my study is being hinged on Diana Taylor's theory of archive and repertoire. Diana sees two modalities on how to transmit cultural knowledge. So she argued that the two modalities are repertoire and archive. She argues that social knowledge is preserved through performance, a range of so-called ephemeral behaviors that she termed to be repertoires. The key concepts, which is archive and repertoire. Archive, which we know, is documents, recordings, and material physically preserved over time. And repertoire is actually embodied knowledge, gesture, movement, song, oral tradition, transmit through life practice. How relevant is this theory to this women performance? Many traditions are not formally documented, but are passed through, is being passed through performance. And two, repertoire serve as a dynamic system of cultural transmission, and also community retain and adopt traditional knowledge through life experience. So using Diana Taylor's theory of archive and repertoire, that actually means that performance is actually a means of preserving cultural and social knowledge. So this theory is very important to this work. Now, to review my work, we know as it is, historically,
women performance is known to be communal. In Nigeria, we always see women perform only when they give birth to children. They perform during agricultural festival, which is done in Igbo, where they perform yam festival. That's where you see them performing. Then their roles are always like they are praise singers, dancers, and also for when there's transition from that is teenagehood to adulthood. That's where women are actually seen. Then during the colonial disruption, Victorian gender norms and Christian moral framework and also marginalized women in public spaces where they see it to be immoral for women to perform, even to take roles in church as into direct musical, like a director. Then post-colonial Renaissance, we can now see that women are now coming out to perform in Agbo Amala dance drum and an area of festival music chorus. Women have been seen there to perform as a chorus leading. Then it has also expanded to be now start seeing women in theater, in political protests, like in Aba time, where we find the women in Aba protests. The media-based act also. Then we can also see women performing in platform and for empowerment. Then what are these contemporary challenges that women performance face? It is systematic, and it also has a global pattern and Nigerian context. Like as a systemic barrier, institutional sexism, where like in music is seen as for boys club. But seeing women these days, it's like when you are, even in my class, we are like 6 girls out of 25 boys. So there wasn't balance in saying equal balance in studying of music. There's also a technical role. In data gotten, only 3% of producers on Billboard year-end Hot 100 were women. Then also, there's also a leadership gap. Women are active in education, but are underrepresented in orchestra and music institutions. What are the global data? Women are made up of only 21.6% of artists and fewer than 2% of producers on Billboard Hot 100 songs. In Nigerian context, female musicians face emotional and psychological burdens, performance anxiety, and lack of support, even for safety. Those that are married, you find out that their husbands give them, will feel like we have responsibility at home, and there's not much support for them to come out. Then, as a result of that, there's an initiative like Women in Music Boot Camp that provide a mentorship program for women. Now, these traditional elements that I'm talking about in what are the traditional performance elements that I'm going to, this study is trying to talk on. It's been divided under 3 subtopics: musical structures, the ritual and ceremonial function, and the embodied performance. One under musical structure, the study like rhythmic polyrhythm is one of the things that has been found in traditional elements in performance, where you see complex rhythm, then laying some foundation in Nigerian music. There's a tonal mimicry, which we see in talking drum, where you see some people using the talking drum to imitate woman's voice. Then the call and response is also one of the musical structure. Then 2, ritual and ceremonial function. You'll see that African music will always be attached to ceremonies such as ancestral presence and moral instruction. Then the other title in Igbo, music, rituals are always attached to this are the traditional elements we see in music. Then the costume. The costume represents what the women are actually saying, talking about, like what they bring into the music, like gesture, really interpret what and non-verbal lexicon for interpreting meaning in music. Then regard digital transformation in Nigerian music. As a result of digital transformation in Nigerian music, there is a paradigm shift whereby there is no attention given to label people using label anymore, but now it has now given the performers the right to have their own fans without being expecting anybody to give their label or make them publicly known. Then there's a decentralized platform where people now are the mediated model for their fans. Now we can see that in Nigeria, you see more students and even younger people, even parents, elderly people, they make use of phone. This strategy of phone first, mobile first, than using of laptop has brought about a means which music can be transformed through digital. Then the local platform like Boomplay and Audiomax is more relevant than Spotify. Then the aspect of communal-based digital promotion. As a result of COVID, it has really brought an eye-opening for people to have a digital community. Then the technology adaptation pattern, we can see digital audio workspace and cloud storage adaptation, where people store their music as an archive. Then the social media from where people are creative, you can see concerts being held in Facebook and Instagram. This has brought a real transformation in digital. The method this study is trying to use is a mixed method design that integrates qualitative and quantitative data to capture complex social cultural nuances across generations. The study plans to, so the data is being shown already collected, so I don't want to conclude. That is why I said I need your constructive contribution. Now, the study have 20 participants, one traditional cohort and contemporary cohort. In the same performance, this study grouped them into 60 for the older cohorts, which are the traditional cohorts. It's being grouped by age from 66 years old and above, where they that have under rural and urban setting, where they display their cultural performance. Then the contemporary cohort, 10 performance age from 20 to 45 years old. Then the data collection method is ethnographic observation, that we look at cultural festival and urban performance events. Then a semi-structured interview for 45 to 90 minutes, tailored to the generational cohort. Then performance, the analysis will be done through live and recorded performances, and is going to be compared. Then the digital content will be gotten from 50 social media posts analysis. Then this research is significant and important in what way? It will help to fill the critical gap in gender-specific performance studies, and it will advance understanding of cultural preservation in digital age, and it will demonstrate practical application of archive and repertoire theory, and the implication to create a framework for integrating traditional elements into digital music performance, and a guideline for preserving gender-specific performance tradition, and also to support women performance in digital transformation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Esther. We enjoyed your presentation. We are seeing women from other side of the performance music. We'll call on Mary.
Oh, Glory now.
Sorry, Glory, to come and present. Glory. The title of our work is Female Performance in Yoruba Traditional Marriages. Glory. Omoye, thank you. You have the floor now.
Have you checked on her?
I don't think she's nobody like that.
Hello, is Mary there?
She just presented.
Mary just presented.
Oh my God, is Glory there?
Maybe we should go ahead questions. Let's go ahead.
Okay. Dr. Bumi, please answer that session.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I want to first appreciate all the presenters. This is how we are going to be taking questions that we help. I'm so happy that Mary kept telling us this really constructive and thing that will come in my work. And that's what we are here to do. So please, if you have questions, can you kindly take 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's start. 4. Okay,
Hi,
just tell us your name and then.
My name is Stella Ivanju. I might not really be questions, but something that can be incorporated into the work. Let me start from the first presenter. I want to really appreciate everybody that presented. I'm not a literature person, but getting the topic, I know I'm a scholar, and getting the topic, I think is something that one will really want to delve into, especially when you're speaking of women. I want to sincerely appreciate the man that presented. At the point I was like, is he a man that's talking to women like this, talking about women? And I know the story of India from that, not really from Edo State. I know the story of India very well. And you presented it as if you were there at that time. I was shocked. I was like, okay, so I just think that since you said women, if you give us the opportunity to take in, I don't know if you included it very well in your work, but you can as well include the names of her. No, in these roles. No, if you want to know the public, don't need the real hint of what you want us to know about the work you are presenting. Thank you very much for that. Then the second question, like I said, is contribution. Citing the example of Nigeria, it's more than the example you used for Africa, because you were talking Nigeria, you were talking Africa. Maybe you should look into more women in Africa that are into weaving, for the textile. Look into it if you are thinking of Africa. If not, just narrow it down to Nigeria. Let's know that we are talking Nigeria. That is for the second presenter. Okay, I also asked for the second presenter. I wrote here, I said, is there any interview for us to know if these women have challenges when they do this textile work? If there are challenges that they really face, yes, if there are challenges that they face, you can also include it into your work. Then for She Matters, I like the fact that you probably showed the films that you talked about. When you were calling most of the film, I was like, oh, watched this film, but I really did not see. I really did not see, maybe because I'm a woman, I really did not see anything to critique about it. And but good work, good work, good work. Nice work there. Then for my sister Mary, you talked about Nigerian music and you talked about African music. I would want you to narrow it down to Nigeria alone because you know the work is talking about the region in Nigeria. Because if you want to talk about Africa, it's going to be very, very large. That means you're going to do a lot of research, bringing the African thing into it and all of that. So just narrow it. If you want to do the six geopolitical zone in Nigeria, go ahead. If you want to do just a particular section in Nigeria, go ahead. It's the best for that. It just narrow it down to Nigeria. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you. Number two. Second person.
All right, so I'm just like to say something about the last presenter's topic. So, in one of your in one of your in one of your research questions, you said something or objective that to develop a framework. I want to develop a framework for them to use.
Okay, not very understand now because we use that.
Okay. And then I think you should use music performance rather than women's performance in music. You should use what's it called? Music performance rather than women's performance in music. I think the same thing, but they are different.
Yeah.
But because there should be something about women's performance, and performance can include acting, different. So maybe when you use that music as an adjective for that performance, you know that you're talking about music performance, like you narrow down the scope. Then again, you said you're going to 20 participants.
Yeah.
But then you mentioned quantitative. But I think that the reason why we use quantitative methods is we have large participants. And the question is, what exactly are the quantitative data you want to collect? So we need to know. Going to so because there is quantitative, then you need to use a large number of participants, maybe like a survey. So I didn't mention surveys, observation, analysis, and so. So you should look at that. That's it.
Thank you. All right, thank you very much. Thank you all the presenters. I appreciate you, especially to the male. Thank you so much for that. And I just really wish that maybe from this confirm stand for taking positions of the truth. When we shy away from a lot of position of various offices, we just think that maybe setting rules or position that men without women caring into it. So I pray that either with your own way up and try to come back with something on the lights of the side to talk about the last presenter on music. Now, before we turn to that level at which you're talking about, I think that's started in the grassroots. Perhaps us inside this world, how many of us be willing to allow our children to study music as they girls in school? No matter the problem begins from there. Recently, in my own office, I know how many times I spoke to some parents that children are really on their way to study music, but they don't see any need. Of all things, you are going to start studying music. But I was happy that a man, an elderly man, yesterday, one of our session, said he chose to do that, study dance, or do dance, and I'm making good money. We come to 10 where we understand that these are as if they are nothing, as if they are not professional courses or something. You allow and train and enjoy this. Let me go about God will try that the sectionally seats in the class. He tries to many areas and things. There are the points what if you want to check maybe learn something. Then the teacher that knows that child took the child. If we could take out the medical training again, medical whatever, let's follow me to the child, this child. They went into the room there and play music. and this president dance, and that's the, it was not as if they don't want to sit down in the club like this, but there is something that is, and this tribe is making good money in this. What I'm trying to say is that I think from the grassroots, before we start coming to how we can get more women, as now to the women now, in studying news, that's some of our parents. So there is a way that society, or I don't know the kind of the set of people that we educate in the society at large. Let them know that courses like music, French, all those look as if they are not anything. Should be allowed to, you know, they should support their work in this country. They are not feeling that maybe they are wasting money. From there, we can now begin to think about now coming to the future world. That's what it's some of the women, they shy away from those, let me call it art of music. Take for instance, you spend more time with the keyboard to start learning. When you are thinking about how to at home, so may help the mother and all of that. Whereas the guys spend more time there, you have to spend coming out very well. You want to talk about transcription, kind of those are exposed to the computer, but you can say, spend more time there, won't just take anything. So this has to start from the grassroots. You can already, there's a way we can just drive this message back to the attention to talk and change the orientation. On the whole, thank you very much for all.
Thank you. I want to appreciate all the class now.
Can I add? Okay. Continue.
Well done, well done. To the last presenter, maybe because I'm new to I want to ask one of them are asked. So I want to ask questions. One of them has been asked, and I just want to try to say again that besides, if you look at intergenerational transformation and the cultural preservation in Nigerian women's performance art, I think you should look into it. Nigerian women's performance. Nigeria is very gross. In fact, the person I just wrote that, yeah, too gross. It's now down. Localize it. You want to look at Southwest, you want to look at this, people who give your work because you can't cover it, you are so close. So, and the second question, digital transformation in one context are you? Because when you are explaining it, I was expecting, because I was always when you started, and I saw you talk, I was losing up before. But when I thought about it, yes, I was. How are you looking at it? Because I was expecting you to navigate us as the cultural preservation. How do we get to this approach? So that we'll be able to have that of the transformation. And the question I'm asking is, in what context are you looking at this? I am very pleased.
Okay, thank you. Dr.
Yes. Let me continue from where my brother stopped. For the person who presented on music, that's Maria, I believe.
Yes, yes.
Is wide, very wide. In terms of music, we'll talk about the instrumentality, we'll talk about the dancer, we'll talk about the person who sings, we'll talk about producers, we talk about marketers. Like he said, wide. So you just, pick an aspect of it and work on it. You can't do all at the same time. It will be too bulky. And if somebody even talked about you picking the 6 zones in Nigeria, it's still too wide. Maybe you pick 2, do a comparative analysis of both of them, and you pick a segment of it. Is it about the sexualization of of women in most music? Even the women sexualize themselves. Let's take, for example, I'm sorry to name people. What's her name? This Yoruba lady, Tiwa Savage. You can look at something like that. Why is it like that? In every region, do we have such thing? Then for the guy who presented first, Sadiq also, sorry.
Sadiq.
Yes. You were talking, you said sweet revenge is not an eye for an eye. Are you sure it's not an eye for an eye? Because it is not about negotiation now.
It's not revenge. Yeah.
Mary made mention of two sects. I've forgotten the first one, but the second I remembered, she said resistance and negotiation. But this is not what sweet revenge is about. It's about the first one, revolt and something. I've forgotten what she said. The human waited actually, so because they came to to an understanding that
we have 15 minutes. We have 15 minutes.
I would go and come. But by the time the man is coming back, he's coming back with another woman. This woman revolted and started working again and made sure she upturned the man to go to the House of Reps, the Senate. So it's not negotiation. This is an eye for an eye. Thank you.
Thank you. I think I just quickly want to ask the question. No, it's really a question. I want to talk on G02, please. G02. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
I just have something I want to add. I said, now you gave us 4 women and told us what they were doing, and they are doing really well. But they already know. We've seen what they can do. Now they have trainees. I think we should also make effort to find out how well their trainees are doing. So they have cut out the name for themselves. They are everywhere. They are known. What of those people they have trained? Where are they? Where have they gotten to? I think that's when their action will actually be reflective of everything. Thank you. So we now take people to answer the questions. The first presenter quickly addressed what we presented. So maybe it's something. Let me just have a brief answer to Dr. Hu. If you look at the title of that play, it's actually a paradox. Revenge can never be sweet. No sweet revenge. It can never be sweet because when you say there's revenge, it means somebody did something and you are hitting back. So it's actually, if maybe from when talking and from the context of what he was explaining, that we are looking at women, not just saying, oh, we want to, we are claiming equity, we are overturning everybody, but saying in our own space, we are going to be relevant without actually, going about it negatively. That's it. But actually, revenge cannot be sweet because the man was turned to nothing at the end of the play, and the woman was elevated higher. Okay. So that's what the explanation for that. So we cannot take the second presenter. Tia, please.
Hello.
Tia, quickly respond in a minute.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. I've taken note of your suggestion, and I will look into it. But generally, it usually follows the apprentice process. Yeah, some people will come in to learn, and most of the time, some may continue and some may not. So, but from what you have mentioned, I will try and look into that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Then can I seek permission to exit? I'm in another program in the university here, and I have a.
Thank you
All
for
right.
attending the session. We enjoyed your presentation.
Yeah, thank you.
Very pleased.
Thank you so much. Yes, I have so much to answer. Yes, thank you, the first, my friend, for contributing. Yes, I noticed that when I was presenting, I added Lagos. I added Lagos to that Nigeria. Yeah, I should say. So when you're sending an action, leave it that way. I can't go to every paper and start correcting Lagos. Then and I'll work on it more on that. Concerning my second questionnaire, he asked me how did I create a framework. Now, as a scholar, it's as a result of collecting information as you gather. That's why you can now generate a framework based on your research collection. And don't ever see yourself that you cannot create a framework when you gather a lot of data. Thank you. Then to my friend said, why not? The first thing is to start teaching people grassroots. It has been overflowed on education. It has been overflowed by education, teaching how music can be taught, how music can be encouraged. But this particular work is actually talking about how we can intergenerational narrative from generation to another in a digital world that we are now. So that's why I didn't go that area. Then digitalization question that you asked me, how does it transform? Okay, now if you can see in the real context, I make mention under the music to guide me. I started with traditional elements. I spoke about that. When I'm looking at how do I digitalize it, many performers are there that studied music, but they don't put those elements in their music in this real time, and they perform. Now, for me, God, looking out for those elements from the contemporary musicians that are now using digital, because now I'm having collections of digitals. It's not being digitalized information from the older generation. Now the new one, what are those elements I see in the older generation are being depicted in the new generation that are now using digital? Do you understand what that transformation is all about? From the older court to the new, to the contemporary court. That's digitalization. Digitalization does not mean you start forming one technological way of, okay, put it this way. No, I mean that. Then thank you, the chair, for pointing out aspects that I should focus on. I will do that.
Well, Lauren did not join finally, so I think the chair, you can go on and then we have just 4 minutes left.
Wow, it's a beautiful journey with us in this 2025 LSA conference. We are grateful for choosing our panel, and we hope that next year we'll be able to do something again. It gets better every year. If we are not able to do, one of you might be able to do, and we are there to support. Thank you for choosing us. Thank you for coming to discuss women from all perspectives. We hope to see you next year. Thank you.
Parents that are silent.